Welcome to the podcast. My name is Joseph Jennings. I'm here with my co-host, Christina. I'm an executive coach. If you need help solving a problem and you don't want to call the Ghostbusters, give me a call. We want to do a quick word from our sponsors here. And we're back. All right. So, Christina, how are you today? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Christina. I'm an energy healer, not the Ghostbusters, but kind of like the Ghostbusters. So there's no ghost that you need to talk to or tackle. And you can go see Joe.
Yeah. And I'm, for the record, not ghost-related problems. That's not where my expertise lies, and it's more business-related problems.
I was at a funeral yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was very sad for my aunt. And my uncle, he also has an ear like I do. And he kept saying, "Do you hear that? Do you hear that?"
What was he hearing?
And I was sitting there quiet. I closed my eyes to get quiet. And he said he could just hear the murmur of people, like people having side conversations all around him. And so then I closed my eyes and I tried to sit in that, and I didn't hear anything, but I could sense where everybody was. And I was like, oh, our great grandparents were in front of us, in the row in front of us. And I could sense my dad was to the right of me. Yeah. And my grandparents were in the row above us. And the couple, my aunt and her husband, they both passed away. I could feel them at the front of the church on the corner left pew. It was incredible.
So the whole family came from the beyond to be part of this event.
Yeah. So my uncle heard them. He said, "Everybody's here. Do you hear them?" And then the priest is talking, right? They're in this, it's a very beautiful ceremony. Greek churches have this, Orthodoxy has this beautiful ceremony, and it's very emotional.
Are they long?
It's like an hour.
Oh, okay. Like normal length.
Yeah. Well, normal Orthodox church service is like 4 hours.
That's why I asked if it was long. So it's more
so this is
neo.
Pretty fast, I guess. Yeah. But it is very emotional and beautiful. And so as the priest is talking, I just closed my eyes to try and see if I could hear better, which I know sounds weird, but I do have to turn off one sense sometimes to turn on another.
Sure.
And it wasn't until then that I could feel everybody. So I'm glad he said it. And I go, "I can't hear him, but I can feel him." He was like, "What?" And I was like, "What?" Was
that heavy? How did that feel?
Oh yeah, it was really heavy. But sorry, this just related to ghosts, so I wanted to share because
that's
this
amazing.
Weird thing that's happening.
I've never had experiences like that, and I think I'm not super in tune to it. Just it's not on my radar. I do believe that stuff exists, but I remember when I was in college, I became heavily fascinated with occult stuff and secret societies and black magic. I'd read about it, watch videos about it. And then weird stuff started happening because you open the door and you start giving something more of your focus and energy. And I shut it down. I was like, all right, this is enough. And I just stopped indulging in it because I was very perturbed by it felt more scary than exciting.
Some of it is scary.
Yeah.
I do know how, but it wouldn't make sense for me to explain it to you. But I definitely have this little, I have a doorman, and the only spirits that can come forward are the ones of love, and the darkness doesn't.
How'd you get that guy or gal or thing?
It's not relevant.
Okay.
It's not transferable. It's just part of who I am. I can just tell that there's a layer of protection around me.
Oh, that's smart.
I think I'm so high in vibration that it's very easy for me to keep it here. It wasn't always like that, but I've had people ask me, "How do you know if they're good or bad?" I'm like, well, only the good are allowed to come through.
That's amazing.
Just feel when something's good or bad.
That's amazing.
Ghostbusters.
I saw that movie at a very young age, which feels inappropriate.
Oh.
The first one with the Keymaster, and it's kind of sultry. Who's the actress?
Sigourney Weaver.
Is it Sigourney Weaver?
I don't know. I have the worst memory.
Yeah, no, it's someone else who was famous, but there's some pretty erotic. It's not crazy, but anyway. So guys, if you haven't already, by the way, if you made it through that riffing there, please like and subscribe, share this video.
Let's go to a dark, scary place for our question today. This is my number one fear.
Oh shit.
Quite honestly, my heart's pounding just thinking slightly about it.
Good for you. Let's conquer it.
I don't know though. I hopefully
that you're talking about it.
I hope we never have to conquer it.
Yeah.
So,
oh, wow.
How long do you think you would survive in a zombie apocalypse?
Oh, I would absolutely destroy a zombie apocalypse. I put so much thought into this. Like, that used to be something I wanted to happen. So here's what you have to do.
I put so much thought into it because I don't want it to happen. So the same but different.
Okay. So you have a contingency plan based on the fear. So that's smart though.
Fear. I can't watch a zombie movie, or I like can't be alone. I'll like I wake up.
Did you watch
night.
The Walking Dead?
Yeah, right. My mom, she'd put it on and I'd get uncomfortable and have to leave. If I am scared watching a movie, there's a lot of pausing and there's a lot of hiding under the blankets. Yourself. Yeah. And if I'm by myself, woo,
I do so
many pauses.
Yeah, I won't watch a horror movie alone, but I'll do like this thing where you're like peeking through your fingers.
No.
But I did watch this show, Evil, which was amazing. It was about there was a priest, this tech expert, and this woman who's a psychologist, and they would investigate demonic / paranormal activity. And it was definitely in the horror genre. And I don't lock my door because I live in a building and the building's secured. But I was locking my door every night because I was thinking some dark thoughts. But anyway, zombie apocalypse. Yeah, so I pretty much what I've decided is there's two paths you can go. There's an optimal path that's not really possible, but I'll explain.
Surviving?
Survival is the goal. But what you need to do is one of two things. So if you're in a city and you can't get out of the city, you need to go to the highest point of the highest building. So you need to go take over a penthouse apartment in a building. So you have complete oversight of everything. For a zombie to get through 50 floors, you could have booby traps on every single floor, multiple layers of backdoor contingencies, and what do they call that?
But all the people in that building could potentially be zombies that you have to eradicate from the building.
Yeah, you would have to kind of go through floor by floor and just kind of poke them in the brain. Whoop.
Now, are the zombies you're picturing fast or slow?
They're the scary fast zombies.
Same. Why are they fast?
It's just basically take a person, you give them a super virus, but
actually, we gotta stop talking about it. I've hit my limit. Tell me how long you'd survive. I think.
Yeah. No, so I would live until they fixed it, and then society rebuilt itself. I would survive
society
in my entirety.
Itself. It's just like a matter of time.
I didn't know that you were afraid of that. That's
I'm
wild.
Terrified.
Yeah. What's your contingency plan?
Mike, okay, well, I am like gonna murder anybody that comes at me. I don't care if I loved you at one point, and now Joe, like I love you, and you.
But I'm a zombie. I'm
dead.
A zombie,
dead.
Okay.
Killed. Bye. See ya. Yeah. It's you against me, and it's not gonna be
sure. No remorse.
This is where my scrappiness, I think, will really come into play.
Yeah.
I have like things in case, like I have one of those water purifier stick things. So if shit goes down and I needed to,
So you've actually got real things in place for this.
I mean, loosely.
It's like any sort of thing.
The zombie
you just have
things,
stuff in
I've
case.
always just been terrified.
Yeah.
One year I had this one boyfriend. He was trying to do this whole desensitizing thing. Oh, I'm getting like hives.
It didn't work at all.
He got me the survival book, and then he got me all this stuff, and it just made me more anxious.
Really? Is that your biggest fear?
Truly.
That's a good biggest fear though, because it's impossible.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, it's very improbable.
Okay.
Like if it was spiders, that would be way harder to deal with.
They're next.
Zombie apocalypse.
They're next. If you ever see cups upside down in a room that I've recently been in, like if you walked into my apartment and you saw a bunch of upside down cups, there's probably a bug underneath it because I couldn't kill it and I'd been panicking.
You don't kill them?
I would like to, but I just get too scared. I like get the cup usually, and like start there. Sometimes I attack them with a hairspray because I feel like it's an adhesive.
Yeah.
It gets stuck.
Smart.
But they don't.
Wow.
They don't ever actually get stuck.
Yeah, I think bugs are fascinating. This
has turned into Christina's fears.
Yeah, this is the phobia hour. Guys, call the number on the screen. If you have a phobia, we'll help you deal with it. If you don't see the number, that's because it isn't real. I wanted to jump in, though. This is kind of a good segue because I was going to say bugs are super strong.
Oh.
And the subject of my topic today is also super strong. And that's because he lifts weights and is a muscular man. Thank you. So I want to talk about Hermosi, but I want to talk about his simple success formula. And we're going to use but the concept of first principles, which is something that I believe Hermosi does, and break down Now it seems like a lot and the guy does work really hard, but essentially he figures out a way to make things at their root. Like, what is the minimum requirement for me to hit my goal? And then, okay, cool. If there are only three things I need to do, then how do I just do more of them and how to be a master of that, right? So, like Hermosi, for example, what two skills do you really even need to be super successful? Probably like sales and marketing, and then having a business that has a good operational blueprint. It's not, if you just look at it at its base level, it's easy if you make it simple and then you just have to put the work in.
Yes. Yeah, I guess when you do drill down a successful business, that's exactly what it is. If you really go down to the foundation of it. And I think there has to be some sort of ability to rely on other people.
Okay, like a good team.
Yeah, or some people are uncomfortable delegating, and I think that's where their businesses start to fail. You have to be able to spend the time to build the team that you need for the success that you want for the future. If you're wasting your time doing everything yourself, you probably get lost in the sauce. Do you know what I mean? There's like some people that just can't
delegate,
ask for help or delegate, and they feel like they have to do it all, and then they wonder why they're failing.
I had a client recently, this was last week or 2 weeks ago, and this person's at that inflection point where they're so afraid of trusting someone else with the brand.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, you just have them mentor you and you train them. And they were like, but they're already, this person owns it's like a wellness center, spa type stuff. And well, they're already credentialed and I shouldn't have to tell them how to do their job. And I'm like, you're not telling them how to do their job. You're telling them how you do your job. And that's how you like to run your brand. And she's like, well, how do I know I can trust them? I'm like, you can't until you train them how you want them to do it. And then when you feel like you can trust them, then you let go of the reins. But it's a big thing, especially entrepreneurs. Like, we want to control stuff. Like, that's why I became an entrepreneur, because I was tired of having a boss.
Yeah. And I would say to her, if she feels like she can't trust anyone else, that's really when energy healing can help clear away that clutter. Because that's just fear that you don't have good discernment, or you're not making good choices. You don't trust yourself.
Trust yourself.
Really what it comes down to.
Or people have let her down a lot in the past.
Yeah, which is fair. She's built this stigma up for whatever reason, or this belief structure for whatever reason. And that's okay. We're not discrediting that, but it doesn't mean you need to hold on to it any longer, especially if it's not serving you.
Yeah, it definitely was one of those things where it's going to be the biggest challenge that this particular person faces, because those things where at its surface, when people don't really peel back the layers or do the work, they just think, well, people are untrustworthy, so I can't grow my business because I can't trust anyone, or I just have to work more hours. And she's already pretty much maxed out on how much time she's working. And it's not actually business consulting they need. It's some sort of inner work or energy therapy, or like it's something like deep inside that you have to go, why? But why aren't people trustworthy? Is that actually true? There probably are trustworthy people. Like, I just have to find the right people, and you kind of break it down. And that's really one of the points of first principles, is you challenge things that are done by analogy. So Elon Musk says in his explanation of first principles, most people do things by analogy because it's easier to do things how they've been done than to create something from scratch. But you don't need to create stuff from scratch when you just think, what are the core principles? So Hermosi's core principles, his first principles is 4 things. Okay, so money comes from solving problems at scale. So what's a big problem you can solve, and then how can you scale that? Number 2 is make a no-brainer offer. So something that someone would feel stupid saying no to, that provides more value than it costs. Third principle, focus on leveraging high-value skills. So you don't need to grind 18 hours a day. If you have a really good high-value skill, that can make you faster than working your ass off 18 hours a day for 10 years. Like, if you just got good at sales, you could become a multi-millionaire. You wouldn't have to do anything else. You could just find a good product to sell. Like, that alone, right? You don't even need to start your own business for that. And then the last one is wealth comes from repeating simple things at scale. So most people think I need a brand new idea to get rich, and most people quit before success happens. So the way to win is keep doing something that works, and then at a bigger scale. So he had the gym launch thing, which at first he was literally flying to gyms, selling all the clients, booking everything, and then like keeping the difference. And then the gym owners would get the memberships moving forward. And it just became completely unscalable. So then on accident, went, let's just sell this thing. And people said, yeah, that's amazing. So eventually they were able to, I think the cost was $42,000 because that was the average. No, it was 42 grand. And that was based on some sort of, but the average additional income gyms would experience is like 200 something $1,000. And then it scaled so big that he was able to remove himself from the business, sell it for 30 million. And then basically took the exact same model. And now they acquire businesses that do the thing that he figured out for gyms. And it's just rinse repeat. So instead of just having one business that does this, they have 20 businesses that do that same process. And then they can just supercharge them because they already built the system. So same system, bigger scale.
Yeah. Solve the problem. That is the key. That's step one. Find problems. Find solutions to problems. It's really simple. When you break it down like this, of course, there's a lot more nuance to it, but it just sounds so simple. But really, the reality is, if you have a problem you can solve for people, they're going to want to pay you for it. And I like this idea, too, of giving so much in the offer that they can't say no. I know that if you're a smaller business or you're just starting out, you have to do that sometimes. Sometimes you have to give away a bit more to get the brand loyalty, to get people to start coming back to you, to get your name out there. But it doesn't need to be a long-term strategy. I think where sometimes people get lost is they're willing to give their services away for so cheap, or they're willing to give such deep discounts that it devalues what they're actually giving away. Do you think if there'd be like another approach into giving an offer that's so good that people can't say no to?
Yeah, the analogy is someone pays $20 to get $100. So if the gym launch thing is 42 grand, but the people can expect to make 250 grand. So let's say 50 to 250. It's a 5x multiple. So 20 to 100. So whatever your product is, if you can tell someone this is going to give you 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever X, they would have to be a literal stupid person or a horrendous business person to say no to that. You know what I mean? Like if you could be like, look, these are the 100 people I helped. This is the average return. Here's the data. Do you want to make that much more money?
Yeah, but I mean, so let's say a business, like someone right now was listening and
so
they're
new
trying
entrepreneur,
to scale their business.
Yeah.
And let's say it was me and my energy healing business.
Okay.
So, and I said to you, Joe, I want to be able to offer clients something they can't say no to. What do you think I could do? Like, what would that look like?
That's a really good question.
Especially if I don't want to diminish the value of my service.
I wouldn't make it cheaper, actually. And Hermosi is a big proponent of saying that you make it more expensive than other people because that's the only way to differentiate yourself. But then you provide 10 times the value. So yes, it is more expensive, but it also has everything the competitor offers plus 10 more things. But this is something that I'd love to riff on with you. It's really hard to, and as someone who worked in sales for a big part of my career, and then recruiting, which is still, the payoff is money, right? Someone's seeing like dollars and cents. When you have something that has intrinsic value, how do you communicate the value of something that's not dollars and cents?
Yeah. That's a great question.
Yeah.
I do.
How do you quantify it?
Sometimes I struggle with that in my own business because I feel like I can't necessarily give someone a promise you're going to be 10x better by tomorrow because I don't know what their body's willing to release and how much they're holding on to. Some people are ready to make changes really quickly and some people are resistant to change. So it's not going to be the same number person to person. So whenever I'm in these kind of situations, I always try to give real life examples to potential clients. When people are asking me about it, I have some case studies of my own that I refer to about people that I've helped, and that often will get people on board. But I don't know. I don't know what the full answer would be for this one.
That'd be a good challenge for us to solve. And if you guys have any ideas on how to do that, because it's something that I've struggled with, thinking about how do you quantify intrinsic value? And I'm sure there's a way to do it, but if people want to feel a specific way, and it's so personal, person to person, but I think there are ways to show value if you can show people what the outcome is. So, you know, if you look at dating gurus and all that shit, they're not like, hey, you take this course, you're going to get $1 million. They're going, you're going to find a girl or a guy or whatever. And so the intrinsic value of getting the goal of having this date or this partner or this, you know, ultimately it's like someone you want to have sex with, it's got more emotional hooks. So maybe it's something along that you're going to get this outcome.
Yeah, I do tell people,
like, what's that worth to you?
I'm going to help you reach your goals. So you have to define what your goals are, and I'm going to be here to support you and show you how to get to the places that you want to get that you can't get on your own. But again, they have to meet me halfway. I can't do it all for them. Someone has to be ready and willing. So I don't really have an answer here.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's essentially like they get to define the value based on the value of attaining their goals. If their goal, whatever the value of them attaining their goal is, and I think honestly, and that's the thing, I always joke that I'll try anything to be successful. If someone says you have to eat cat shit every day, and that worked, I would be eating cat shit. You know what I mean? So it's like any modality or anything that you can try that might lend you towards, and energy healing was actually the thing that I found that was the most powerful when you and I were working together and still work together. But so for me, accomplishing my goal, that is a massive value, but there's also like dollar signs there. But I actually think what's really funny about selling towards money is that money isn't actually anyone's goal. People think that they want money, but they actually want security and all these other things.
What do you mean selling towards money?
Selling towards you're going to get X amount of dollars if you pay X amount of dollars to me. Like you pay 20, I give you 100 type system. It's if you have money, you think you're going to feel X. It's for me, it's probably like freedom, really. Like you want to feel free. You want to feel like you can do whatever you want. And then security, obviously, or take care of people you love. But it's not actual dollars and cents that people want. So even that money is behind it is something more intrinsic.
Yeah. All I know is my personal experience in that with working in a service-based business, because service-based businesses are hard. You have to get an emotional connection to someone sometimes on any level so that they can trust you. Because I think when you are paying someone for a service, there's a level of trust there. So let's say you're going to get a massage. You're trusting that you're going to go in for the massage. They are going to do their best job at trying to work out the kinks in your back or any knots you may have, relieve any pressure. You are going to get a haircut. You are going in there because you expect all your little hairs to get cut and you're going to leave and you're going to look really nice. There's certain expectations and levels of trust that you put in people. And having trust, I think, is the foundation. It just takes a minute to build that. And that can either be done through word of mouth, people learning who you are because of how you've marketed yourself or branded yourself. And I think it's just very different than something that you're actually trying to sell, because this Hermosi method, I think, relates perfectly to selling of things,
business
or large services like this scaling service.
Sure.
That makes more sense. I think a one-on-one service, this probably isn't as relatable to in the regard that I'm hearing it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
for this step only.
If you're talking about economies at scale, yeah, it would be different if you're a one person.
Yes.
But then you could even think, okay, well, if I want to scale this, I could train people to do what I do. I think what you're doing is so unique because it requires like a gift. You'd have to like train. You'd have to find. You could probably find people that had the gift and help them bring it out more, et cetera, et cetera. But it almost kind of like I'm thinking of Stranger Things, like 11. I just heard Millie Bobby Brown on Smart List. And I'm like, you'd have to find some like CIA psyop people.
You're right.
But one thing that
this was a bad example.
No, your example is great. But my what I got from that was, if you wanted to sell something that wasn't able to be quantified in 5x dollars, whatever dollars, you could sell by analogy. So you could sell by that. Let's say the haircut example that you gave. Have you ever gotten a shitty haircut? How does that feel? Oh yeah. Imagine like. Do you remember the time you got the best haircut of your life and the best dye job and like you felt so hot and so beautiful and da-da-da-da-da? Like, what's the gap there? And they can feel like the shitty gap and they can feel how awesome they felt. And then you're like, that's exactly how we're going to make you feel when you accomplish your goals. But imagine that by 10x or whatever. And so they can get rooted in a feeling. And then you can be like, well, imagine that feeling if you then accomplish your biggest, wildest dreams. Or you root them in a time when they accomplished a huge goal and you get them to feel the feelings.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Just came up with that. Don't steal it. Just kidding. You guys can have that.
Freebie.
For
the first question, my initial question, what I was trying to ask you was, if someone has if someone's listening to this right now and they have a business and they give away haircuts, we use haircuts as an example. I'm a hairstylist. I give away haircuts, but I want to give more. What are examples of giving more?
Oh, you want to talk about how to scale a service-based business
in this Hermosi method?
Yeah, that is an awesome question. And I think it's, so you look at the difference between a low-end haircut place, and I go to Supercuts, by the way. There's no shame there. But, or like a really expensive salon. The salon's going to wash your hair. Supercuts is like, do you want to wash your hair? And you're like,
wait, really?
yeah. And then like they charge you for it. So it's not part of the service. And it feels, in my mind, that feels scammy. I'm like, no, I'm not paying for you to like rub my hair with shampoo. I wash it. But if you go to a salon, they give you the hair wash. They rub your hair a little. You get like a nice towel. And so you can just add all these services that were spa-esque to a haircut that already exists. And then it's worth $100 versus the $20 I pay at Supercuts, right?
Like some essential oils.
Oh my God. If they were rocking essential oils, what if your haircut place, you had a private room and they play like Tibetan bongo music and there's like a guy with a pan flute in there. And you're like, this is the best I've ever felt in my entire life while getting a haircut. Holy crap, this is worth X.
Great example.
Yeah, how would you scale that for your business then? That's a really good question, I think.
Yeah, I think
for people that are like healers or in people that do energy work and stuff like that.
My business is so niche that I think it's a different service than a haircut. I do have some ideas, but I don't want to give them away like we gave away our little freebie here.
Yeah, that haircut idea is gold. If anyone has Tibetan pan flute guys at their haircut place, you're welcome.
Sick.
Yeah, what if there was an actual monk in there and they're chanting
at you?
I don't know if I think it might feel uncomfortable. Like, can we get this
really
monk out of here? Or he's just meditating. He doesn't talk the whole
just
time.
Makes it so zen.
Yeah. Oh, wow. This is going off the fucking rails.
Yeah. So he tricks you into thinking that you like your haircut when you leave, but you're just chill.
Oh, and they give you like a weird bowl cut.
Oh, because they put the actual Tibetan bowl and.
Oh my God. It's so dumb, but you could sell the crap out of that. Tibetan singing bowl, ceremonial haircut, and you have people come into your haircut studio. You can literally charge $500 for that and people will pay it. So you do like a ceremony with the bowl and then you put it on their head and you like play it while they're getting the haircut. Probably be really nice.
Maybe the monk cuts the hair too, so you get like a really hands-on experience.
And he uses like he uses shears, like ancient shears, and just rips your hair out.
He's like, these haven't been sharpened.
I'm telling you though, dude.
In 6,500 years.
Exactly. Or like, I've been sharpening these with a stone from the equator that's like 7 million feet below the earth or something.
Yeah.
People would pay for that. That is such a luxury service that you could be like, yeah, well, I get my haircut at this place and it's like a Tibetan singing bowl haircut ceremony. People are like, what is that? Like, it's kind of weird, but it's really nice. And you're like, it's $50,000. They're like, how rich are you? And you're like, yeah, it's no big deal. Like, that's a total flex place to go get your haircut at.
Yeah. Some people tell us we have really good ideas.
Is this not a good idea?
We could workshop it.
I feel like we're workshopping it right now. I don't hate that idea. I would never start that business because I'm not passionate about it.
Where are you flying these monks in from? Oh, Tibet. Never mind.
They probably have
do they get like a work form? How does that work? Do you have to get
like are they W-2? I think
like
they'd be
a special
1099.
visa?
Yeah.
like a working visa. And you'd be like, who's their boss? And you'd be like, big man upstairs.
Yeah, exactly. The only one they answer to is God.
Everybody's boss.
Actually really fucking funny. All right, let's move on. I don't want to give away too many of these golden ideas because we're probably going to start all of these businesses.
We're going to start a new podcast and it's just going to be our ideas.
It's going to be called Really Good Business Ideas.
Yeah, it's going to come out on Mondays. Look out for it.
And so, yeah, I just want to give a couple of highlights about the guy. I mean, like, he's everywhere on social media. If you're listening to this podcast, you've seen Hermosi. And essentially, he understood that he needed that exposure. So it's, how do people find you? How do you retain people? And then how do people share you? How do you go viral? It's all about these simple principles of success. It's figure out a system. What problem can you solve with skills that you already have? How can you replicate it? How can you teach it? How can you scale it? And then how can you exit and then scale it on a bigger scale? Whatever your goal is, it's literally just like what problem you're solving. Try to solve the biggest problem that you can solve that you're capable of solving or that you can figure out to solve. Okay, what's your system? Then how do I package it? And then how do I scale it? It's really 3, let's call it 4 steps, but it's not that big. And I think people make things super complicated, including myself. But at the end of the day, if you can break things down to their core, just what is the minimum I need to be successful, and then figure out what that is for yourself. Like, you don't have to do the norm. Like, why do you have to work 40 years to then retire and like be happy chilling for 20 years?
Why?
Yeah. Why do you have to work 18 hours a day? Why do you have to start a business? Why do you need an office? There's all those questions that you're struggling with. Like, God, I'm not going to be able to do this until I can get X, or until I can do X. Ask, do I really need that? What do I actually need?
Challenge the status quo. Also, it's like laundry. Just rinse, wash, and repeat.
Literally. Once you find a system that you can replicate too. I mean, the guy's literally doing the same gym launch system, but on a larger scale. They mainly work with service-based businesses, which is essentially their gym model. And I think they have some software companies too, but
it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So guy's worth $350 million, by the way. Yeah. And he was worth $100 million in 2024. So almost tripled his net worth.
I don't know that
No,
I
more
knew
than tripled.
that full number. That's
insane.
Impressive.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure acquisition.com is worth a billy. It's not like formally worth $1 billion, but
yeah. So I guess take notes. Even if you don't, it's interesting. Some people are really polarizing. I've seen him on my TikTok. He always has he's like the little breathe nose strips. He looks like a Neanderthal. I mean, he's not necessarily, I'm probably not his target audience as a lady who's a very feminine lady. I feel like he is more towards masculine men. But the message here, all of it, I've listened to his books. I have listened to him. Whether you like him or don't like him, he knows what he's talking about. And he has $1 billion to $1 billion business, or at least close to it, closer than you and I probably, to prove it. So I'm just saying all this because some people are polarizing in our lives and we don't necessarily like who they are or what they have to stand for. He's a gym bro. Well, the gym bro knows what he's talking about, and he's actually giving a lot of tools away for free, and his business model is working. It's extremely impressive.
It's insane.
And the fact that I know he literally gave books away. I've heard his website has tons of free resources because he's essentially trying to get everyone to scale so they can get to the level where they can like play with him. It's incredible.
So, and I was going to mention that in the description below, there'll be links to those free resources. So Hormozi gave away all of his books, $100 million offers, $100 million. I'm blanking, but there's 3 of them. I'll link those below. His website, Acquisition, has a bunch of free training resources that are phenomenal. And then there's also going to be a detailed first principles playbook that we've been building over the last several episodes. And it's got inspirations from Hermosi, Elon Musk, Robert Greene, other people that are doing these like great things that are going to help you prompt your ChatGPT or Claude or whatever to help you break down whatever solutions you're trying to create with the problems that you have at their core. And it's going to make your life a lot easier. So make sure you download that too.
Yeah. As a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it, you have to learn. You don't have to. I would encourage everyone to learn from those around us. We are not at the $1 billion business, so we can't operate the same, but they started somewhere and they got there. So how did they get there? Learning about these initial stages of their growth and also how they continue to do it moving forward, because a lot of people hit ceilings. They don't know how to scale. They get to this point where they don't know what the next step is and like how to help themselves almost.
One of the best things, and I'm a big fan of Hermosi. I think some of his stuff, like the work 1,000 hours thing, he loves doing that, and that's not for everyone. I'm not. I'm more of like a Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week guy, which that's more to my core.
Yeah, that's why I was saying he's a bit polarizing, I think, for people. They're like, I don't want to work like this. I don't want to be a workhorse. But I don't think Mr. Hermosi sees himself as a workhorse. He probably sees himself as someone who is passionate and super locked into what he's doing. He probably just likes it, and that's why he does it.
He loves it. Yeah,
he loves it.
I remember what I was going to say. So one of the best interviews I've ever seen, just in general, and we all, I think, fall prey to this when we're putting ourselves on the internet. I want to be my best self. I want to be perfect. I don't want you to see the times when I was like in the fetal position in my bed because I like blew my life up or whatever. Right? He has a podcast. I think it was on Diary of a CEO, which I love, and talking about mainly the struggle, like before they were famous, how he was sleeping on the gym floor and quit his job, and his dad as a his dad's an immigrant, and he was supposed to, either be a doctor or like a high level businessman or something, like disowned him. And all this stuff where he was afraid to charge money for his services because he was scared and he had low confidence. Like, that's the stuff that we're all going through. Even the dude who's worth 350 mil went through. And so, yeah, learning from these successful people, especially learning about how they went from zero to, okay, now I feel worthy. That stuff really resonates, and I highly recommend checking that out too.
I do remember in his book, at one point he said, in the original, the game book, that's the one I listened to, he said something about having like $350 left in the bank and that he didn't know how he was going to pay people. And he was at the line. He had to figure out how to hustle really quick and how he turned it around. And stories like that are really inspiring because you're right. He's seen every level now. He knows what it's like to have almost no dollars and to have all the dollars. Very much like Oprah. Remember, women, like my mom's age, I remember back in the day, they would always say that about Oprah because she's been at every single step. Like, she understood what actual poverty is to being a multi-millionaire. And I think when you've gone through each one of those steps, like both of these people, you have a different perspective on life because you know what the other side is like. Like, other billionaires don't know what the other side is like.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it's cool seeing people that can be comfortable enough to talk about the icky parts, because I'm not comfortable with that yet. Like, there's so many struggles. And if I saw someone struggling with the things that I still struggle with as an entrepreneur, I would be like, wow, that's awesome. Because there's so much glory at the end of the road, supposedly. There's so much glory, but you don't see people putting that online. That's not sexy. But I want to know what's going on. I want to see people being relatable. And if you're an entrepreneur or someone who wants to start your own business, or you have a side hustle, whatever, it's very isolating being an entrepreneur because all the people, especially when you're new to it and you haven't built a big circle of entrepreneurs, all the people that are not entrepreneurs have no clue. Like, when Christina and I started this podcast, I remember I had a friend who was like, wow, it looks like you guys are having fun. And I wanted to be like, I love talking to you, Christina, and I love podcasting. This is fun. This is 10 fucking percent. The other 90% is not fun. Okay. Like, we work more behind the scenes, but you have to give people a break because they don't understand, but it's very isolating. And so when I can be, anyway, short story long, if I could relate to other entrepreneurs, that stuff really resonates with me.
Yeah. Like, my mom the other day asked, how my retirement's going. No, excuse me. My mom said, well, yeah, it's so interesting. When you're retired, you just don't feel like you have a lot of time, right? You just fill up your time so quickly. And I go, I'm working more now than I did before. Thank you so much for thinking I'm retired, though.
You know what I love too is, and Hermosi talks about this a ton. This is just a Hermosi fanboy episode, apparently. Must be nice.
Oh, I say that.
Must be nice. Now people are going, because that's what people say to people when they like have a successful podcaster. Who was Hermosi talking to about that? It was Chris Williamson. Must be nice. Oh, must be nice. Like, and how offensive that used to be to them. Like, dude, I literally made $0 for 2 years. It is nice.
Yeah.
But like, you didn't see it when it was actually like most, and now they're like, it is nice. Yeah. Because they know that no one's going to do it. Like, I know you're not going to do it. That's why what's his face, Gary Vee, gives all his info away for free.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no one's going to do this.
People just want to assume that, you woke up and everything was just like this for you.
It's hanging out, brah.
Yeah, they are not considering themselves, and that's fine. We're all here. We're all thinking about ourselves all day long, and that's totally fine. I'm not telling you not to do that, but just remember that when you think people are thinking about you, they're not. They're thinking about themselves, and that's great because they don't care to know. They don't need to know. They don't want to know. They potentially just want to judge. That must be nice. Because it almost devalues it, so they probably feel better about themselves.
So they don't feel bad because they know they're not going to do it. Must be nice. Like,
yeah.
And they're...
like, someone handed it to you is the assumption. I could do it too if someone handed it to me.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. If I blah, 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 I could talk on camera. Like, it's not that easy. Actually, it is because we're naturals. It must be nice. It is nice. No, and Hermosi talks about this, how people are rooting for you when you're not successful and you're trying this thing. Oh, I'm so happy you're having fun. That seems great. Hey, we're rooting for you.
Bless your
Hermosi
heart.
sleeping on the gym floor, people going, hey, we're really rooting for you. We see that you're putting in the work. And then fast forward 6 months, he's got a big staff, 10 gyms, and they're going, oh, Mr. Big Shot, huh? Too good for us now. And you're like, why aren't you still rooting for me? I'm still the same guy as when I was struggling. Now it's the deflection of you feeling bad that I've eclipsed you. Like, what is that? But it is. It's just people being like, and dude, I get it, man. I had a real realization of this. I was listening to Joe Rogan this morning and on the way here. And obviously as a podcaster, it's the number one podcast in the world. So I feel like it's hyper relevant to understand the top podcast. I know that's a controversial podcast, but I'm whatever. And he was talking about when he was 21 and he was watching another stand-up comedian that had gone on after him and how he was hoping that the guy bombed. And he goes,
To make him look better?
Because that guy's essentially competing in the same arena as he is. And so by wanting him to bomb, it's like your ego going, yeah, if he fails, then I'm better. But they both were new and they both probably sucked, right? And he goes, in that moment, I realized that was a real bitch-ass way to think. And I stopped thinking like that. And I had when I was in corporate America, oh, dude, I wanted everyone at my level to fail so that I looked better. I told that story on one of our last podcasts where I had that coworker.
It's funny. It's just funny to me when you say it because we're so different.
Oh, dude, I wanted everyone to brutally fail and embarrass themselves. So I looked. I typically was always in the top 1 or 2 performers regardless. That's just that competitive streak. But I wanted people to like trip over their shoelaces and break their nose, fail, so that I could be that much better.
I'm going to ask a question and you can choose to answer this if you want. Is it because you were insecure?
I think it's a little bit of both. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
Did you feel insecure as an employee or salesperson, or just insecure against your peers, even though you were a top performer? So I understand that you can be a top performer and still be insecure.
I think
so
a lot of top performers are deeply insecure.
Yeah,
it's a dark, unfillable hole that they're trying to throw success and money into. Yeah, I don't know why either, because I was a really good employee and I was always a top performer, but I always had a deep fear of losing my job, because especially the higher you climb, golden handcuffs, all that crap, it's very easy to get in your head and go, wow, how am I going to replace this income? How am I going to da-da-da-da-da-da? So it's like you just start to drive to survive, not to drive to win or drive to be exceptional. So if I guess, and I kind of got out of that mindset towards the end of my career because I became a little bit more, I guess, altruistic. But especially when I was young in my career, I wanted everyone to be like a turd. I wanted to just destroy everyone, not compete. I wanted them to not exist. Like how you kill all the zombies.
Oh.
Yeah. But I didn't kill anyone.
I have never thought like that. Actually, if I'm driving and I see someone running, in my head, I'm like, get it, buddy. Keep going.
I say good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I told my friend Gretchen that once and she goes, I'm like, fall over and die. I hate them. She was so funny. She's like, I would never do that. I'm like, why? They're going, look at them. They're like running for their lives. And God knows I don't want to run.
No.
I think, it's just so funny how different we are.
Especially when I see the new people, like people that you can tell, okay, they're just getting into working out. Or I used to get annoyed by the New Year's resolution gym people.
Oh.
Now I'm like, hell yeah, like good for you, dude. Like stick with it. But I think in the back of my mind, I know they won't, and it makes me feel better. But then I pretend to be a good person. I'm like, you won't fucking stick with it. I know you won't stick with it. But I'm faking it at least. I'm trying.
Sure.
But I do want people to
stick with it.
Yeah, I want people to like be better. Like I genuinely want people to do better. I think
I do too.
It's a double-edged sword though, because that desire is also creating a standard that I believe most people won't live up to. So I want people to do better though.
Well, this is detached from outcome.
Yeah, it's like, how do you want people to do better but also not actually care?
I think that's really hard, especially if you have a client business too, where you're trying to help people get better and they don't want to help themselves. You can really get in your head about that.
Dude, it's the worst,
Yeah.
which is funny because you think, well, they're still paying me. It becomes very personal. Like why can't I help this person? Like,
yeah. You had a gentleman you were working with and he just said he said he wanted to be there for A, and then he showed up to be there for something completely different. He was like, I want to talk about business, but then it ended up being all personal relationships, and you wanted him to get out of his own head and he just couldn't. And those people that saying you can't you can bring a horse to water, you can't make him drink. It's true. You can't make people change or develop or grow until they're ready.
It's the teacher can only teach the student when they're ready. I'm paraphrasing aggressively, but especially early in my career, before I was a consultant, coach, whatever. Now I'm very comfortable. It's essentially saying, hey, like that guy, we worked together for a few sessions, and I was like, man, I could keep taking your money, but raw reality is, dude, is you're not ready yet. And
so you broke up.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm like, I could take your money, dude, but I know what you need to do. And I think you need to do a thing before the thing. And a lot of it is, and I'm sure you realize this too, like when we started working together, my goals were business, financial related, but you don't really work on that. You're not like working on like, here's how you use a calculator and here's how you make money. It's like, well, what are the things that are personal, that are emotional, that are actually stopping you from getting the actual goal? So maybe this guy's goal, which was more personal, would have eventually led him to be more successful in business, but he wasn't even ready to tackle that thing. It was like he had an odd issue he wanted to solve that I was just not interested in helping him solve. It wasn't weird. It was just not related to what I do. Where I don't think I would have been able to help him.
Yeah, I don't know that
because he
anyone could
wasn't
have
going to
helped
do
him
the
with
work.
this issue.
Yeah.
Now it's like mystery issue.
Mystery issue. We'll never tell you. I had to sign an NDA. Not an NDA, but what's that called?
We don't tell.
What are those called?
We don't kiss and tell with our clients.
Yeah.
We actually don't kiss any of our clients. At least I don't.
I've never kissed a client. No.
Okay, just
promise.
checking.
Most are virtual.
Yeah. Kiss me through the phone.
What's that called? It's called a confidentiality agreement. We signed confidentiality.
Sorry, I didn't know you were
agreements.
struggling for words.
Yeah. It's like NDA sounds so serious. I'll fucking sue you if you tell anyone what I said. No one's ever said that to me yet.
Thank God.
I feel like if that happens, though, I'll be very successful.
Knocking on wood.
Yeah, that's when the haters come in and you're like, I made it. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. Make sure you download that First Principles playbook, and we're going to be building on that more and more. So as you listen, if you hear that we've updated it, basically every week there's going to be another chapter that we add to it that's going to help you really get your life to a place where it becomes very simple to be successful.
Wait. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and then call your mom and tell your mailman, and maybe you could like write us a physical letter, and you could have a question for us to submit, and then you could, tell your friends and your family. I think Easter's coming. Oh, St. Patrick's Day. That's the next holiday. You could make like a board with Modern Alchemy on it, and you could tell people because you're so excited to be here, because we're so excited that you're here. And then follow us too. I'm Christina. That's Joe. Just in case there's any confusion. I'm done now. Okay.
Good.